Hello there, and welcome back to this episode of Ignition Time. I've been reading a lot of comments from our viewers and subscribers, comments about our viewers and subscribers being very unhappy with the Republicans, being extremely agitated with the Democrats for wasting money, sending money to foreign countries. And I can tell you that I've been thinking about how we can restore faith in the government, because I do believe that when the government works as intended, then the results can be good. But I think we can all agree that the government is not working as intended right now. I can tell you that for this channel, it's not about the red or the blue. It's about the red, white, and blue. I'm not Democrat. I'm not Republican. I'm American. And so I've been thinking about this, how to restore faith in government, specifically with all these congressional hearings going on right now, with the entire GameStop situation, and with all the congressional leaders saying, hey, what can we do to protect the retail investor? And what can we do to make sure these big hedge funds don't have unfair advantages, unlike retail investors? And I can tell you that as an angel investor myself, as a business owner myself, I'm looking at these lawmakers and I'm telling myself, well, where have you been? Where have you been all along? The game has always been rigged, and you're waking up now when some retail investors make money, when other retail investors lose money. And I don't even agree with the phrase retail investor. That's a subject for a different episode of Ignition Time. But it got me thinking, how can one restore faith in government? And then what's ironic is I came across this tweet on your screen from Chamath Palihapitiya, who's an investor, who's a billionaire. He used to work at Facebook's, and he has launched a lot of SPAC companies, special purpose acquisition companies, which I have invested in. One of my biggest holdings is Virgin Galactic, which was his first SPAC company. So I can talk to you more about that in other videos where I focus on investing. And Chamath said this today: how to restore faith in government. Do not watch a congressional hearing. I would tend to agree with that, Chamath, because, folks, the one thing about a congressional hearing is that you listen to a lot of lawmakers ask extremely basic questions. They'll ask questions like, how do you make money? Or they'll ask questions like, why did you do this? But the fact is, there are many, many, many different variables, many different considerations. I once heard a lawmaker ask Facebook, how do you know that certain people are supposed to see certain types of ads? If you've ever run an ad on Facebook, and if you know anything about the way Mark Zuckerberg's brain works, folks, Facebook has a kind of data that you and I probably don't even know about ourselves. Facebook can target ads to specific individuals or specific categories of individuals with specific interests in specific zip codes. It's scary. And when I saw that question from the lawmaker, I knew that the lawmaker did not understand the advertising model, the business model of Facebook. And to be fair to them, the lawmakers, when I say the lawmakers, I'm talking congressmen, congresswomen, senators, they don't know everything. They sometimes don't know how the world is working around them. So, in many ways, when lawmakers conduct hearings, they are catching up on all the nonsense that has gone on and that has led to the point that a hearing is now necessary. When we see Congresswoman Maxine Waters ask questions, when we see different individuals ask questions of the Robinhood CEO, keep in mind that by that time the horse has already bolted out of the barn, and and things have already happened by that time, and now Congress is late to catch up. But folks, such is the nature of government. It's, hindsight is always 2020. And getting back to Chamath's tweet, it looks like Chamath actually agrees with this. Chamath says it will only make you despondent and realize politicians are just bad, bad community theater actors, not our saviors. And I agree with Chamath. The only thing I want to add is politicians are not intended to be our saviors. The only person that is intended to be our own savior is ourselves. I believe that when you learn the principles of investing, when you learn the principles of making money, when you educate yourselves, and also, this is super important, when you surround yourselves with the right people, I believe that you will not need to have faith in the government, because you essentially only rely on yourself. For our viewers and subscribers at Ignition Time, I'm always going to bring you the truth. I'm going to teach you my investing principles, my investing strategies. And this is something I've talked about on our channel, and I'm going to dig deeper and deeper into that. But I want you to understand that when we look back at this situation, many of us for the first time in our lives have been on unemployment. Many of us, for the first time in our lives, have been dependent on a stimulus check. And many of us, for the first time, are on YouTube right now looking at channels for stimulus news, for unemployment benefits. getting scammed by a bunch of channels that always say it's great news. I want you to know this, and I want you to really think about this. In the end, we cannot depend on government. Not because government is bad, but because government is far from perfect. Okay. Now, I want to be clear, there are some governments in the world which are bad, but I believe the United States government, despite its best intentions, continues to trip over itself. All these politicians make it us against them. It doesn't matter to me whether you're a supporter of former President Trump or whether you're a supporter of President Biden. What matters is we move away from the tribalism, from the us against them. Because politics is about three things: it's about timing, it's about opportunity, and it is about tribalism. Because politicians like to make it about us versus them. Now, politicians do a lot of really unbelievable things that make you confused. Let's take a look at Ted Cruz, for example. I mean, what was he thinking? What was he thinking heading off to Texas in the middle of the worst crisis, the worst energy crisis that Texas has faced in the history of the state? So, folks, politicians are always going to do funny things, are always going to do things we can't understand. And I think when we look at them, we'll understand that, hey, we can't be dependent on them, but we can be dependent on ourselves. My advice to you would be, once you get through this crisis, right now it's about survival. I get it. I respect that. I'm trying to help as much as I can with the news, with investing principles, with the behind the scenes access into what I'm doing. I'm doing that and I'll continue to do that. But at the end of the day, there is one person that you can depend on. One person. And that person is who you see in the mirror every single morning. There is one person that'll have your back, and that is you. Now, outside of that one person, I would encourage you to build a network of mentors, build a network of associates who you look up to. Folks, if you're on this YouTube channel, I'm happy to be your mentor. You can watch my videos, subscribe to the channel. By the way, do that. It really helps out the channel. And I will share as much insight as I can with you. But at the end of the day, I want you to become more self-dependent, more self-reliant. Build the mental, build the financial capabilities to be able to invest in the stock market, whether it goes up, whether it goes down. Build your knowledge by interacting with mentors, by watching videos like this, by jumping onto live video calls, or even going to conferences once things open up, and learn from other people. Because at the end of the day, the people that you look up to and the people that you try and emulate, your mentors, will lead you towards a higher path, will lead you to success. That's exactly what I did. I surrounded myself, and I still surround myself with people who are much, much smarter than me. And I encourage you to do the same, because that is the one way we can get through all of this. Overcoming dependence on the government starts by increasing dependence on yourself. I want you to embrace a future where you're not looking for stimulus checks. I want you to embrace a future where you're not dependent on unemployment benefits. Are there some viewers and subscribers who are happy to get unemployment benefits and don't want to work again? Of course there are. There's always going to be. But I know that you have higher goals for your own life, and I have higher aspirations for you. I want you to, if needed, retrain your skills, which, by the way, is something there's no money for retraining in the American Rescue Plan, which honestly I consider to be a failure in the American Rescue Plan, but that's a topic for a separate video. I want you to retrain yourself. I want you to improve your skills so that you can become more productive as a member of society, whether it's starting your own business. And by all means, if you want to start your own business, go for it. Or if you want to get re-employed and become more valuable to an employer, that is your decision. But the important thing here is retrain yourself so that you can become a more valuable contributor, and therefore you can make more money in the new world post-pandemic. That was it, everyone. If you're hoping to have your faith restored in the government, please don't hold your breath, but I will help you restore faith in yourself. And if you already have faith in yourself, congratulations. I will help you further increase your confidence in yourself. Please click like, please subscribe, please enable notifications. That would mean a lot to me personally. I really appreciate you watching. And please click the like button and subscribe button, because it does help out the YouTube algorithm. I appreciate you watching, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Take care. Bye.